Okay, the argument of origin. So a lot of people will use the origin of something to determine whether or not it's right or wrong. And the logic that they'll use is this. If an object or practice originates in an evil setting or for an evil purpose, that object or practice is evil also. And it's really not a fair argument. Just looking at the origin of something, when you're looking at that history book and it's telling you about this thing, is that the first occurrence of that thing, that, like, let's for example, that practice? Is that the first occurrence of that practice? Is it the first known occurrence of that practice? Is it the first recorded occurrence of that practice? So you have to make an assumption regarding the origin most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. But regardless, let's look at the objects and the practices, giving you an example of each, and we'll go from there. Let's imagine that, or let's assume that a knife was originally crafted by Cain for the purpose of slaying his brother Abel. Does that mean that all knives are evil? Or that any usage of a knife thereafter is evil? No. I mean, we have kitchen knives and we use them to cut bread and vegetables. I have knives in the bedroom I use to cut rope. I mean, it's a tool, and it's not the object that's evil, it's how you use it, that's the issue. So, an object cannot be evil simply because it was originally created by an evil person, or originally crafted by an evil person, or for an evil purpose. It's how it's being used that's the issue. Let's assume, regarding practices, let's assume that erotic dance was originally used by a woman to seduce a man into sin, and so that way he would commit adultery. Does that mean that all erotic dance is sinful? I mean, could not a wife use this to, protect her husband from evil and keep his attention fixed on herself, so that way his mind doesn't go in other places? So you see, you can't just use the origin of something and say that it's evil every time. If a woman wants to do this, and in fact, in Song of Solomon, we'll get into that a little bit later. But Song of Solomon actually talks about a woman being a sexual defense for her husband. Well, how is she going to do that? It's going to be by being there for him sexually, and maybe that involves erotic dance. I don't know. But the point is that you can't use the origin of something. You can't say, well, it was first used for evil, therefore it can never be used for good. You can't do that. That's not fair. So basically the idea is this, regarding the origin of something, something is not evil because of it, based off of its origin. Okay, an object is not evil of itself. It's how the object is used that is the issue. And a practice is only evil if it's genuinely harming somebody. You cannot use the origin of something to determine whether or not it's right or wrong. I know I call it the argument of origin because it's used as an argument, but it's actually an assumption. One, you're making assumptions about its origin. Then you're making assumptions that because of its origin, that makes it evil. You can't do that. There's no evidence for this, and you can come up with all different kinds of ideas that are very harmful and destructive and can mess up your marriage and your relationship. And even regarding non-sexual things, people use this all the time. And you can come up with very twisted ideas, and it's just destructive overall. So thanks for watching. Keep these things in mind as we're going through these presentations so they don't interfere with your ability to receive what I'm saying or to give a fair ear to what I'm saying. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again in the next presentation.